Okay, hello. I kind of wanted to do a follow-on video from the 12/12 possible date for Madonna croaking it onto the 13th and 14th, um, and how the interesting connections with these numbers now in December, the 13th and 14th of December, the interesting connections back to potentially back to Madonna and potentially back to um, this I've kind of been looking at the Hoover Dam thing now with um, the 15th of December, and the more I look at it, the more little connections I'm seeing. So I I just want to go through some more of these Madonna things. I know it's broken record time, but this is what it is. Um, if you saw my last video, I was talking about. Let me show you this. I was talking about the idea of like the balance point running through the number 11, the Vesica Pisces at the center of the legs. That's where that thing exists. Well, if you run that line all the way down through, like I showed in that last video, um, it hits several numbers down through here, right? That center line, right? So let's go back to brushes here and let me show you. So it hits the number 9, it hits the number 5, it hits the number 6, and then it does hit the number 1 here in these green totals down here as well. And then it goes through the very last. It goes through 1241. This is a big personal reference for me, 1241. But interestingly enough, as I said before, if we read to the center balance point, which is the blue line, this would read. You'd read one way. You'd read this way, and you'd read this way. Okay. And so what's interesting about that is this would read 1214. Okay, now 1214 is Washington's death date. Okay, hence why part of the reason why I've been looking at the 15th of December for like a rebirth. With all the clues in the dollar bill, and Washington sat on the dollar bill. You know, you must have death first, and then rebirth comes after the death. Okay, so the 15th would be just another logical day to look at for potential, Hoover Dam thing to happen. In fact, it would probably be the 14th, in the middle of the night, 14th through to the 15th. But anyway, and obviously those numbers, 12, 15, are obviously numbers that relate back to Christmas. So we have, what I'm trying to show you here though is, let's get rid of some of this 6 second. So what we have here is we have Madonna's numbers right next to Washington here. Here's a 1, 8, and a 6. Okay, they're not in the right order, but 1, 8, and a 6. I'm really only just looking at any combination of 1, 8, 6 for Madonna in the table right now. And then on the other side of that, we have again a 1, 2, 9, which that relates back to the dollar bill because there is a fold in the dollar bill that gives us 1, 2, 9. So this is interesting that there's kind of this relationship here that ties into 1214. Okay, Madonna's numbers tying into 1214 and tying back into the dollar bill and so forth and so on. So we just go look at another set of Madonna numbers in the table because they're all over the place. It's 168, okay, or 198 as well. Again, that's Matthew Perry has that relationship with those numbers as well with Madonna's birthday, and his numbers are just we've just got the 6 rotating. Anyway, here's a 168. The 6 is upside down, and that ties into this 1309. Okay, and that 1309, again, we can look at that as a 139. Okay, and 139 shows up here and here, and this is the important one right here. This is the total for the 7 column. Yeah, this is all about balance. Number 7. This is the God column. Okay, and so 139 is our total down here. Also, if we go ahead and cross-reference 139 here, you'll see that it's a 59. I was just talking about 559 in that last video as well, you know. So 95 or 59. I think Sirius, either Osiris or Sirius is a 95. I don't know what it is, but anyway, one of those is a 95 in the Gematrinator. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So this 139, what that is to do with then is, you know, this is completion. Again, this is like the total for this column. So it's like this is like a completion number almost, you know. It's you know, referencing balance. Okay. And interestingly enough, the 309 is just right here on the same row, you know. So this is the 4 row that's not normally in the table. But note the two columns that these are in. Okay, they're in the 13th and 14th columns here. Okay, so this 139 that's to do with, you know, balance, coming back into alignment with God, I guess. We've got Madonna's birthday connected into that 13th through to maybe the 13th through to the 14th, you know. There's December, December 13th and 14th, you know, and again, with her numbers tying back to Washington here, the 14th here as well. This is kind of interesting, you know. Did I have anything else I wanted to say about this? Yeah, I did, but there was some interesting number jumps as well. Let's go to this. Let's just look at a couple of number jumps because I got some in here. Oh, let's also look at Madonna in the dartboard here. Here is her birthday numbers. If we look straight across opposite, what we have is 13, and I guess you could make a 14 out of this. This is 314 or 413 or whatever, however which way around you want to put it. But again, numbers of pi, and so 13 and 14 are a nice reference back to pi. So what number jumps have I got in here? Oh, okay. I will show you that one in just a second because that ties back into the 15th with the. So this is one that I wanted to show you with Madonna, and it's the July the 29th. Okay, that is the big white wedding. That's Charles and Diana. Okay, that's the big white wedding, and so there is a reference to. There's a reference to the wedding, you know, kind of in. There is one actually in Who's That Girl, because that's where they finally end up. Is at the end they're at a wedding. And what else was I thinking with the wedding? Billy Idol's White Wedding. Okay, that has the Who's That Girl reference in it, with Madonna's outfit being shown on some guy in there randomly. And the outfit is from the music video of Who's That Girl. So we have that connection there back to the white wedding with Billy Idol. And so we can connect back to this white wedding here. Okay, and we can go 139 days, which is that number that ties back in with Madonna there quite a bit. And again, it's pointing us to the 15th of December. So I guess, I mean, you know, if the Hoover Dam wasn't to go, then potentially Madonna also on the 15th of December is what I'm trying to say there as well. Okay. But the references themselves, like the actual song, there's a lot of references to. There's a little couple of little references to Vegas in the song, um, and his guitar's got the little Vegas sticker on it, and what was I talking about the other day? Like a Virgin. Um, that music video, she's also wearing a wedding dress, and we have the connection back to the Twin Towers being in the background in that video. So I'm all everything's sort of tying back in on itself at this point in time. But I don't really know what else I want to say. So there's that 15th jump there with the 139. Let me show you this one, because this is again a jump back to the 15th, or jump from the 15th. But if we're going backwards from the 15th, which means if we went 100 and let's double check this, 589 days from May the 5th, it's going to take us to December the 15th. Okay, 589 days is an interesting number. It's an interesting number in the table, but let me just explain. May the 5th is a big number jump in the dollar bill. It's one of those start dates in the dollar bill. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, and it links very nicely in with the Labor Day number jump that's in the dollar bill. So 55 is that start date, 55. And this number here, let me show you it now. Let me get rid of some of this so it's not so difficult to. Here's that number. Okay, the reason why I was looking at this number again is because the cross reference is 5 and 12. 125, 521. Okay. Again, this is super interesting because it's cross-referencing back with, back with Christmas, back with balance, because of this row here, this 516 row here, right? Again, those numbers there were 9, 5, 6, and 1. Yeah, so you can see this set of numbers here showing up right here when we're looking at balance down through here. Okay, so it's important. And 5-9 referencing back to this 139 here, which is again number 7's total. Okay, so I'm just trying to highlight how these numbers all tie back together again. Okay, but again, the 13th looks like a nice day for Madonna because Take a Bow. Okay, that music video. There's the representation of the bull, the holy cow. Well, it's not really a holy cow because it's turned into a raging bull at that point. It's turned into the Matrix, the raging bull. Okay, that thing being killed because it's a bullfight that's being shown, and Madonna's supposed to be the bull, And again, I'm pretty sure this number is on the. It's either, I think it's just the length of the song. I don't know. It's somewhere in the numbers for the song. But again, that's a 13 reference. So that's quite nice. But again, is it just referencing back to 1225? Christmas. I don't know. Well, it is referencing back to that, but is it necessarily referencing back to 1215 is what I'm trying to say. Which way around do these references go? Once you start looking at tons of references, it's like there's no real way of knowing exactly, pinpoint exactly what that reference is really pointing to. Well, I think there is a way of pinpointing it, but I think you've got to be very, 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 very good at reading the context of the numbers. And I think right now, just picking out similar numbers and some patterns and bits and bobs is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of actually being able to look at, a certain situation and predict something. I mean, it's all very well. I don't want to down anybody, but it's all very well picking the outcome of a football game, because you already know the game's going to be there and it's going to exist in the first place, and then you're picking against teams that, I mean, you can almost do a coin toss to pick it, Um, so it's one of these things where, um, again, you've got to kind of, I think super precision on predicting stuff is extremely difficult to do. You can make a generalized prediction quite easily, I reckon. Like, my generalized prediction is the Hoover Dam's it will fall one day, okay, and it will be a ritual falling. It won't be it just finally was emptied and then just went into disrepair, and you know what I mean. Because eventually it will fall down. I think they say it should last 1,000 years or something daft. But yeah, what am I trying to say here is that I'm trying to say that in order to, I think it's still possible to predict stuff very accurately, but I think the problem is getting the context right with what number relates to what number and how those numbers are interacting, rather than just, this number means this or this number means that. This number means death, so this person's going to die because we've seen that number come up a couple of times. It's just okay. It might happen like that, or maybe there's a bigger picture to be explored. I don't know. Anyway, whiffly waffling again. I don't know if I had any more number jumps. Let me have a look. What was in? So that one's a super interesting one, simply because of where that 589 shows up. I've got her. What have I got in here? Her birthday, and I just kept it on the same year because I wanted to see where the 14th came to. Obviously, if we look at the 13th, you'll see that it's 119. Obviously, that's super duper interesting. So a death then would be referencing, 119. But 120 is really interesting. It's 12. Let's go back to the 14th. So 120 days is very, very interesting because it's a 12 reference. And I was just saying about how perfect 12 is, and this idea of completing the physical element of the cycle. Number 12 is that completion. So again, 120 days would be super interesting. And again, if you go back to the day of the year for the white wedding, I'll show you why the white wedding. For new people, I'll show you why it's interesting in the table. But the white wedding, I thought I had it. Yeah, here it is. July, and I did have it highlighted. The 29th. Here we can see the 21. Okay, which again is the beginning. Is like the beginning of the cycle. Yeah, Lucas numbers is the big middle set of numbers there. 2-1 is the first two numbers, and obviously this is a 120 mixed up. Okay, and also this 155 super important because again it's another one of those numbers that's at the top of the dollar bill. So this 155 relates to 9/11 through to 2/13, which is encoded in the dollar bill. The 155-day jump. I hope I'm getting that right. What else did I want to say about that? Let me show you why the white wedding is so important, because here's our middle balance numbers. Yeah, let's look at the next two numbers out. Okay, there's that 729. There's the white wedding. Okay, this is why this is important. And we're wanting to go back to this point in the center. So again, that's interesting. Here's that 2-1, the start of Lucas numbers. So again, I don't know what to say. I could almost do this. I mean, there are lots and lots of dates that I could, like tie back in, and you can see how those numbers like relate to one another. Um, I don't know if it makes it more special or less special. I don't know. I think it's pretty amazing the way everything ties together in a whole. But then again, it only really becomes something significant if something major happens, to, if you like, prove the story. Otherwise, what is it? It's just a story. So you have to just keep waiting, I guess, and waiting and seeing. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there for this one. I don't think there was anything. I don't feel like I missed anything. I mean, the only no, I don't think I didn't. I don't. I feel like I've pretty much done everything there. Just thinking. No, I think that was it. Um, I'm gonna leave it there for this one, and yeah, I'll do another one here pretty soon. Probably do a little bit more um, about the actual symbolism, some of the symbolism with this 1215, because it is actually pretty important with these two things here. So I'll show you that. Some people may have seen some of my old videos, and they may know I'm going to go with this 1215. Because I'm really just going to go back over stuff that's in old videos. So anyway, that's it for this one. I'll catch you on another one here soon. Cheers. All right, bye.